Hey guys, I hope you're doing well. I just wanted to do a commentary over my solo GM, but as is the case with a lot of these videos that I do, I also want to talk about a really cool build. If you watched my Heresy Theorycraft video, this one should look kind of familiar to you, but if you didn't, I was gassing this build up big time. I didn't call it broken or busted or infinite god mode ability build, yada 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 kind of thing. But I did say that I thought this build would be really good. And I still think that this build will be really good. But, and it's a big but, with a capital B, it's bugged currently. Capital B bugged currently. Try saying that 5 times in a row. Ionic Sentry, for whatever reason, isn't being considered as a grenade. It's in the same boat that Ensnaring Slam and Ascension was in, where for whatever reason, it kind of isn't considered the thing that you think it would be. Like you'd think Ascension would be a class ability, and you'd think that Ionic Sentry would be a grenade, but it isn't acting like a grenade. It doesn't benefit from any grenade mods, any grenade weapon perks. It doesn't even work with things like Electrostatic Mind, which is just ability. So it's kind of just doing what it says on the tin, and not much more than that. Although, good news, as soon as I heard about this, I was like, right, Bungie help immediately. This needs to be fixed. I've got a cool build that I want to make. And someone who beat me to the punch, which is good because it means, oh sorry, white screen warning. Yeah, there you go. Sorry, someone who beat me to the punch on basically saying, guys, please, it's not working as it should. And yeah, I mean, that's great because obviously the first part of fixing a problem is knowing that there's even one in the first place. And Bungie came back and went, yes, we know this. We know it's a problem. Kind of escalated to the team, working on a fix. Amazing. At some point, I don't know when because they didn't, I think they actually openly went and said, we don't know what time this will be fixed, but at some point in the future, this build is going to be working in the way that you think it would, or at least the way that you hope it would. Oh, hold on, I think I have a Warlock jump moment. Yeah, there we go. Sorry, yeah, this build should be working as you think it would do, which is great because when this build starts working in the way that my brain is imagining it, I think this is genuinely going to be a like ridiculously good build. I think this is a great build now. I mean, I feel confident enough taking this into a solo GM, and I don't think you can just do that with kind of like a rubbishy build. But once it gets fixed, this is something that I am going to be so confident just taking into anywhere in the game. I really can't think of a place that this won't be useful. I would be happy to use it for solo content. I would be happy to use it for team content. I think this has also maybe got some uses in kind of niche boss DPS situations. Maybe you've got something like a Touch of Flame Warlock on your team. I just think that this build is so well-rounded. It supports your team, but it still doesn't affect you from kind of being lethal and being able to fight well. It's just got so many uses. Once it gets access to things like Ashes to Assets on your helmet, which is going to give you bonus super energy on grenade kills, I think this is going to be amazing at making supers because of how spammy Ionic Sentry is. There's just so much stuff that will start working buttery smooth once it gets fixed. That's the big word. Once it gets fixed, whenever that is. But as soon as it does, the build video for this is going to be immediate. It will be like I finish work and then a second later I'm going to be in front of my computer making making a build video for this because it deserves one. When I've genuinely just got a Google Doc, it kind of doubles as my script as well. But at the bottom, it's just got a list of like 10 different like bits of tech that I'm only going to be able to find out once we see how Bungie changes this. Hopefully to being a grenade. We keep our fingers crossed. But yeah, genuinely, it looks to be on the kind of level of complexity of something like an ignition build might be. And stuff like that, oh dude, I just geek out so much. And sometimes in a bad way. The runtime of my videos gets kind of long because of it. But yeah, there's just so much to talk about with this build. I genuinely haven't been excited about an Arc Warlock build, or even just like a build like this, since my Atheris's Embrace one, which, yeah, that builds that get me kind of keen to play the game are far and actually no, I say far and few between. Like, just play the game to experience a build. That is when I've got something where I'm like, yeah, okay, you know, that to me is something special, and that's what I think this build will be. Future tens, hopefully, whenever they fix it. But the build itself, we're working, obviously you already know a few things. We've got Ionic Sentry, the new aspect that they released in Heresy. You throw it out, it blinds when it lands, and then it just shoots out little lightning beams. Every time it hits something, you get a stack of bolt charge, and yeah, I think that's pretty much all of it. Weapon kills, I think, give you 1 pip of the bar, and ability give you 2, I want to say. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, that's some of it, really. The second aspect that I think you're always going to want to run here over something like Arc Soul is Electrostatic Mind, just because this build is so debuff heavy. Blind from Ionic Sentry, and then Pulse Grenade as well, which is going to be affected by Spark of Shock, which is a fragment that we want because Arc Grenade's Jolt. Obviously, this is a grenade build. We get increased grenade regen from Verity's Brow. I think it's like 2.5 times grenade regen at 5 stacks. Don't quote me on that. I'd have to double check. Again, this is just like rambling on about things that I'm not 100% sure on without double checking something like Compendium. Yeah, Spark of Shock is going to make Ionic Sentry then apply Jolts, which then for Electrostatic Mind is Ionic Tracers, because that works on Arc kills, Arc ability kills, or Arc debuff kills. Jolts, Arc debuff. Blind also when it lands, Arc debuff. Pulse Grenade also will jolt, Arc debuff. And then we can just loop all of those into getting back even more grenades. We're also going to be running Spark of Beacons. This hits a super nice balance between giving the build a little bit of survivability and ag clear, which it does need, to be honest. It's an arc build. Its survivability isn't like crazy. It's pretty good, but not insane. So being able to just blind things from just killing them with your weapon, which is something you're incentivized to do anyway with Verities, is just super nice. And then obviously blind, arc debuff, Electrostatic Mind. There's the loop. The other two which I'm also running are Spark of Frequency. It used to just do something with your weapons when landing a melee hit. It still doesn't. I think it's just like increased stability, and I think you get a reload speed increase and like a reload animation multiplier or whatever. The main thing that we actually care about is when amplified, whenever you get a stack of bolt charge, you get an extra stack. So basically 1 stack is 2, which for Ionic Sentry, to us, which for most things in this build, is amazing. Your Sentry is normally without frequency. It's good for maybe getting off 1 lightning strike and then setting you up for your second, but it doesn't kind of do all that much. When you have frequency up, this thing can pretty consistently get off 3 lightning strikes, and then if not 2, but then you'll be really close to the 3rd one. It's just, without this fragment on, the build just doesn't kind of feel as explosive with its damage. When you have got it, dude, like, you never want to take this one off. It feels like one of the mandatory fragments alongside Spark of Shock. This one does not get switched out. And the last one is Ions. This one is, you can kind of switch it around. You get arc weapon kills, and then the more kills you get, you kind of spawn in Ionic Trace. I think something like a red bar progresses it by 34%, and anything above I think is something like 66. So, you know, that's nice. You like Ionic Traces, they give you more grenades, give you ability energy, yada yada yada. The main thing, I say the main thing, another thing, nice little side grade, is that when you pick up Ionic Traces, you get a stack of Bolt Charge. If you are not running a weapon that has something like Rolling Storm, or you are not, sorry, Jesus, it was a long day at work, I was stumbling on my words. If you don't have something like Ionic Sentry, just being able to kill an arc debuff target, again, electrostatic mine, but then you just pick that up, then you've got a stack of Bolt Charge. Then that is just going to be, you know, free lightning strike at some point, and also just the ability energy for your melee that you get. It's really nice. And another thing is that from my games, I found that Spark of Ions wasn't actually tied to the cooldown of Electrostatic Mind. It doesn't say this in-game, but it's got a teeny tiny little cooldown Electrostatic Mind on spawning in Ionic Traces. It's genuinely something really, really minuscule. I think maybe something like a second on spawning in traces, but it's not as if like you throw your pulse grenade into a group of ads and you kill 5. You don't get 5 Ionic Traces, you get 1, and then you get set in a cooldown. With Ions, it kind of just ignores them. Its kind of cooldown is not tied to Electrostatic Mine, which is really, really nice. And yeah, that's kind of the build. I've really liked using, well, to be honest, my weapon choices here are really influenced by the seasonal artifacts. This build does have Unstopped Stun in Blind from Beacons and from Ionic Sentry, but it's not kind of really, really reliable. It's pretty good, but it's not something where you want to go into a GM or a strike or anything that's got something like an Unstop Champ, and just rely on Sentry and Beacons. You really do need an unstop weapon, which is why I've got the fusion. That's what we've got in the artifacts. Same kind of thing for the machine gun. Jesus, sorry guys, I'm really stumbling on words here. Yeah, same thing with the machine gun. It's got overload. There are overloads in this strike. And as well, just from the seasonal artifact, it's got some like crazy machine gun perks. As well as the fact this one's got Rolling Storm, which gives us Bolt Charge stacks on getting a kill. And obviously that's something that this build just has. It likes getting Bolt Charge, so that kind of felt like a pretty good pairing. But your weapons are super flexible. I would say if you're using beacons, kind of a heavy that you might be doing a little bit more ad clear with would be nice. In my perfect world, like I can use any weapon, I would probably be sticking on a Psycho Pump, just because that's like an amazing ad clear tool, just like a great grenade launcher. Comes with Rolling Storm as well, which is really nice. Another gun that I really, really want to get my hands on is the new seasonal World Drop Fusion. I'm not even going to try pronouncing the name. It's an Omolon one. It was the old frame that was on the Europa. Yeah, on the Europa weapons. And they made it a World Drop Fusion. That comes with Discord and Rolling Storm. That, to me, in this build, sounds crazy. Like a reliable special weapon that I can use to get kills with. Amazing for Verity's Brow. And then Rolling Storm for more Bolt Charge stacks. That is something that this build also just loves. So yeah, that is a weapon that I'm going to be trying to chase. But yeah, in the meantime, the weapons are super flexible here. And that's kind of it. Actually, I say that, that's kind of it. The one thing I haven't talked about just came up on the screen. Super. This one genuinely doesn't matter at all. I'm just using Storm Trance here because I really like the survivability that it gives me. If I ever just need to panic, it's nice for that. And also, you normally just use Storm Trance for ad clear. That's kind of its purpose in the build. But it's an ability, so it's really, really efficient at giving you your ionic sentry. Or at least stacks of ionic sentry. Again, ability kills, they give you 2. So it's just nice to know that you can do your landfall when you pop the super. And if you do that over 3 ads, it's kind of like a guaranteed ionic sentry. And do throw your ionic sentry out during your super as well. Just because as soon as you throw it, you're on a 6-second timer for your next one. And yeah, it's just kind of like a free ability that you can just chuck out. Here, I think I got scared of the overload. I was worried he was going to start shooting his little, like the take-em ball things that he does when he gets shot too much. But yeah, I mean, this is kind of the build, but you're seeing, unfortunately, as I've said many, many times already, a slightly neutered version of it, kind of watered down, but still great. It's still something where I would say try it out, give it a go, and just know that it is going to be getting a lot better. And I really do mean a lot better. I think the changes for this are going to be game-changing for this build. I might even put broken in my thumbnail if I'm feeling evil. But I don't know. The clickbait doesn't sit well with me. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. The only other thing I could talk about, class ability, healing rift. I mean, that, yeah, like, why not? I'm not going to use empowering here. And melee, I like ball lightning for the damage. It gives me a pretty nice way if I want to get bolt charge off, or kind of like get the bolt charge lightning strike at a distance. But at the same time, if you wanted to use chain lightning, I think that's valid as well. The one thing that I'd always say with any of the builds that I do is always just like switch it up for what you prefer. I always try and say that when I think you have room to make changes. I would say Spark of Frequency and Spark of Shock are ones in this build that you really shouldn't be touching. I just feel like they offer too much to the build, and taking them off is kind of just, you're hurting yourself. The other two, they're way more up to you. You can do what you want with those ones. And yeah, I think that's kind of it. At one point, I was rocking this build with the Storm Grenade, but, you know, it's kind of, Pulse Grenade is really just the best choice. I feel like if you want pure damage on a grenade, it's Pulse. But Storm could be nice as well. I know it's got a kind of wider area in which it does its damage, so yeah. Here you can see me fumbling, trying to deal with an overload and then blinding myself, which is cool. And getting absolutely no value off of my sentry. And then struggling to shoot this overload, because I'm also getting shot at from down below. Just the one thing that is weird about this strike is that it kind of feels like you don't really move very far, but it's taken longer than strikes where it feels like I've moved really far. What was the... Yeah, okay, Inverted Spire. That is one where it feels like your Guardian goes on like a 23-mile marathon. And this one, it feels like you've just kind of walked a little bit. But this one takes so long. Mainly because if you're using a build like this, I mean, I've seen a fair few Titans running Storm's Keep. I don't blame them. The aspect is ridiculously good. Like, I don't see that one not getting changed. But again, it's just these like big chunky bosses where they've just got massive health pools. That thing absolutely shreds. It's crazy. I mean, I honestly, I think it probably will get nerfed, but I think it will be targeted with just being your damage over time weapons. I think things like your Le Monarch, your Thorn even, they just seem too good at giving you bulk charge. Or at least, listen, I really like using those things. I have fun with it, so, you know, I enjoy it whilst you can, but I just feel like Bungie looks at that and they're like, we don't like it. We don't like that there's this much damage from that far away. Is the kind of vibe I'm getting right now. Sorry, I don't even know where I was going with that. I was talking about how in this area these bosses have massive chunky health bars and that Storm's Keep is crazy at doing that. I don't even know where that links with this. Oh well. Yeah. Okay, for this GM specifically, I know I haven't even talked once about it, but might as well start at some point. These Arc Craniums are so good. If you see, genuinely, I think in the encounters coming up, I will go out of my way to kill every Minotaur, because, like, you really, in that second and third phase where you get access to more of these little Arc Cranium things, you really don't want to be using your guns all that much to shoot the boss if one of these is just lying around. They do ridiculous amounts of damage. I mean, you probably just saw before where I picked this up and then just melted 2 Overload Champs with it. It's, yeah, it's ridiculous. It gives you crazy fast supers as well. I was using, I forgot the name, Storm Trance. I was using Storm Trance here, but if this was something like Chaos Reach, this encounter would go even faster. Again, I'm not just because I wanted the safety net of being like, oh god, I'm about to die, F press. Or, oh, sorry, F is my bind. Super press, I don't know. But yeah, I liked having that little safety net for him. But yeah, if you're using like a burst super, I know Titans are addicted to turning themselves into missiles. Just like, yeah, go nuts. Go crazy with this thing. It gives you a ridiculous amount of super energy. And yeah, to be honest, don't really know what I can talk about all that much here. It's kind of just like, you're seeing what the build does. Yeah, I guess I should talk about the strike a little bit. Although there's not really much to talk about. The only time you will get the Minotaur spawns is once you get down into that kind of second bar of his health. You get the little platforms and then you get the taken blights on the floor. And then after that, it's the, I don't know what to call them, like the portals that shoot out blight. You get a bunch of those. Anyway, you get 4 Minotaurs on each one. Yeah, just go after them. Get those craniums. Here you can see, if I have loads of heavy here, I'm happy to spend all of it, just because I know that in a while I'm going to get the Minotaurs spawn, and again, those things are just nuts at doing boss DPS here, so use them. And yeah, that's kind of it. This is an example of, again, where the build is not struggling, but where it doesn't really kind of have the right fuel. It doesn't have ads that it can be killing, working with. And obviously the ads give you sentry and give you death throws stacks. This is an example of the build kind of in an area where it's not performing at its best. Obviously you just don't get those benefits, which is a shame, but you know, that's some encounter design sometimes. Even for boss DPS as well, you're going to have to go in and make sure that you use this build in places where you're able to get kills beforehand. That is one of the kind of drawbacks of Verities, is that it requires ads. It's just not off the bat good. Well, actually, I guess that's kind of wrong. It is off the bat good. It just needs a little work to get there. That's one of the reasons why Storm's Keep is just insane. Because for absolutely nothing, really, I mean a barricade, but that's hardly a thing that you're kind of like, no, my barricade, I don't want to spend it. Just straight off the rip, you get melee energy, you get a load of bolt charge lightning strikes. Genuinely, I don't think that aspect is going to be untouched. I feel like Bungie is probably looking at it and going, okay, we've seen what it can do. This looks dangerous for balance. I mean, it's fun. I love it. The thing is just like, honestly, I've not had more fun using Thunderlord. I know it's like the jokey gun, but man, it's so fun. You just sit behind and you just... There's just a bunch of lightning strikes. Yeah, I really like what they've done in Heresy. I much prefer this kind of let's give classes aspects, then let's give them new exotics to work with. Don't get me wrong, I think the last batch of exotics that they did, which was Rhymecoat Raiment, Master Fealty, and Blastwave Striders, I think they did amazing jobs on those exotics. I think they were really, really good. And that they were rewarding as well. You know? You kind of like use them and they felt good to use, which, you know, you can't say for every exotic. But this kind of like, let's give them aspects approach, I prefer much, much more. You've kind of seen how impactful these have been compared to like the exotics we got. You know, Blastwave Striders, whilst being extremely cool and genuinely one of my favorite Tyson builds, it kind of hasn't made the same splash that you've seen with Storm's Keep. And then again, that aspect also opens up kind of whole new different builds and play styles, and yeah, like the aspect way of doing things is definitely what I prefer more. And all of the aspects as well, I think they did a really good job on. I did see a kind of few comments online about people not liking the fact that On the Prowl was like another kind of invis aspects, but I genuinely really like it. I think it's cool. Again, it's team support, which, I mean, I do a lot of solo content, but listen, if I can give my teammates invisibility, I know they probably appreciate that sometimes. And yeah, like it's got that super cool like bounty hunter feeling to it as well. That Grecian build that I did, I really, really dig. Like, I haven't used Spectral in a while, and it felt good. I mean, as good as it can be, hit reg and all of that stuff going on with it, but yeah, I really enjoyed using that. Here, I don't know why I didn't say this before. Actually, I don't know why I would have said it. The Lambfall applies jolts, which is nice. We like it. And that's for overload stun. I save that sometimes, but obviously there's a load of jolt in this build anyway, so not mandatory at all. You know, one thing I was thinking of, I've seen that they have reworked kind of abilities, like Tempest Strike, for example, that got added functionality with giving you bolt charge, and I think also just killing jolted targets gives you bolt charge. I haven't actually looked at that ability since it got patched. I should do that, because there's probably some cool builds that can be made there. But it's a shame they didn't kind of work something in with Stormtrance. I know a lot of people look at this super and it's like, okay, it needs some love. And you know what? I kind of agree. I think outside of Crown of Tempest, it's not all that impactful of a super. So honestly, I would love it if they tried to work in like some bolt charge tech on the super, where it's like as you get hits, you get bolt charge, and then that obviously goes off because it's an ability. I think that would just be like a really natural way to kind of tie in a subclass verb to a super that I think people want to see get a little bit of love. I would be happy to see that. But yeah, I don't know. Kind of, you're just just seeing what's going on at this point, really. Yeah, I don't know. If you're even still watching at this point. Let me know what you feel about Heresy. I've been really enjoying this. The voice acting stuff has been a little bit of a bummer because, like, the story seems super, super cool this season. I'm hella invested in it, but it's kind of annoying to not hear the voice actors. Again, I fully understand why the voice acting strike, you know, it's unfortunate timing, but, you know, they strike for this exact reason, where products are affected by them not being in them. It's a shame, but, you know, it kind of ruins the experience a little bit. I get that is the intention, but yeah, that's kind of a bit annoying. But the season itself is, dude, it's good. it's really good. I've been enjoying the Nether. That thing absolutely showers you with loot. I think the weapons have been good. I think the new perks that they've introduced have been really... Actually, I say that. I think I love one perk that they've introduced, with that being... what is it? Rolling Storm. Sorry. I really, really like Rolling Storm. I think it's cool that they basically gave you Pugilist, or... No, it's not Pugilist? I'm not too sure. The one that gives you melee energy. I think it's cool that they gave you, like, a mini version of them with, like, an ignition level amount of damage at the end. For me, that's a really, really cool perk. I hope they print that on more guns. Again, I said before I was looking for that, that's fusion, the world drop fusion, because that has got, like, the perfect combo of perks for this build. So I'm going to be keeping an eye out for that one. I think you can actually target farm that from the Tome of Wants at the minute, but yeah, I'm not too sure. Oh, you know what? One thing I haven't talked about, I probably shouldn't have talked about this before, the seasonal artifacts. It is absolutely rigged for Ark this season. You have got some amazing, amazing stuff. The main one being that when you trigger a bolt charge, you heal off of them. Genuinely, if there was a piece of feedback that I could give Bungie, I would say keep that. It feels really, really natural, and it feels like a good payoff as well. Like, Ark doesn't have loads of survivability. Actually, I say that. Now that I think about it, Ark has actually got some pretty good survivability. Maybe it's just Ark Warlock. Yeah, to be honest, Gifted Conviction. Look at something like Insurmountable Skullfort. Arc Titan has also just got Knockout, which is pretty reliable. Yeah, okay. Oh, maybe I took it back. Maybe Arc has actually got some pretty good survivability. But the healing off of the bolt charge stacks, I really like. It feels like a good payoff. If Bungie were to just introduce that as like a base function of triggering bolt charge, I would not be complaining. I think that would be healthy. Maybe it would need specific tuning for something like Storm's Keep. I don't know. That thing is just able to trigger so many bolt charge lightning strikes. But yeah, I don't know. Here we go. There's my feedback for Bungie. I'll send that to bungie.com. Right, yeah, okay, hopefully coming to the end here. I think I ran out of the cranium, so I machine gun him down. But yeah, this last area genuinely isn't all that hard. I think you get one wave of ad spawns. Like what I was saying before, this isn't like the perfect arena for this build to be fighting in, but, you know, kind of take what you can get here. And yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm running around. Reloading, jumping, shooting. And any second now. Come on, surely I'll beam the boss down here. And I just want to get to the drip check at this point. I want to show off my fashion. And also I want to have a sip of water. And I've had this coffee sat next to me as well for half an hour. Come on. I know I can do it. I hope I land that grenade. Oh, dude, what an arm on my Guardian. Jeez. And there you go. There it is. Solo GM. Rambling complete. Build kind of shown, not fully, is going to get patched hopefully soon. Bungie doesn't even know when they're going to get that out. But there, yeah, drip check. I managed to make Verity work, I think, at least a little bit. And then, yeah, here we go. Here's the build. Necrochasm. One really cool thing about this is that the arc, the Cursed Thrall explosions count as proccing electrostatic mine. That's why I run it here. Then there, Storm Trance, Burst Glide, Healing Rift, Bull Lightning, Pulse, Electrostatic, Ionic Sentry, Shock, Beacons, Frequency, and Discharge. And then I think I show my mods as well as the seasonal. But whilst you look at that, I'm just going to say, if you got this far, or you skipped to here because you wanted to see the build, thank you, both. Both people, I guess, thank you. Genuinely keep an eye out for this build video. It's one that I'm going to put a lot of love into because I think it's going to be a good one. Anyway, that's it from me. That's it.